Hi, this is Naomi with Sword and Steel again to show you all of the changes for the Necrons data sheets for 10th edition. I've done this all in alphabetical order so that you will have an ease of time searching through the video if you're only looking for a particular one, so I hope you enjoy. Alright, here we go. And again, these are the old data cards. New ones will be coming out, but these are the old ones. Necron Army rules. So first of all, Reanimation Protocols have not changed. Unchanged. As are Command Protocols. They are unchanged for Awakened Dynasty. For the Awakened Dynasty enhancement, Veil of Darkness has not changed. The Sovereign Coronal, however, is gone. The Sepaternal Weave is exactly the same, but now it's called Anegic Dermal Bond. The Hypermaterial Ablation, maybe, is called Nether Realm Casket now, and it's been limited. There was more to it. Now it's just while the bearer is leading a unit, models in that unit have the stealth ability. And then there is a new one called Facial Subjugator Aura, Necrons model only. While a friendly non-character Necrons unit is within 6 inches of the bearer, each time a model in that unit makes an attack, add 1 to the hit roll. So that's nice. And that is that. The stratagems have been changed around, some of them. So Protocol of the Eternal, I believe called Protocol of the Revenant now. Still 1 command point. There's basically no change, just a little bit of word alteration, but no functional change. Protocol of the Hungry Void is unchanged, except it is no longer cumulative. It specifies that you cannot improve the armor penetration of melee weapons equipped by models in your unit by 1 in addition to anything else. So not cumulative, can only do that. The Protocol of the Conquering Tyrant does have a slight change. It says the effect, so the when is still your shooting phase. The target is still 1 Necrons unit within your army that has not been selected to shoot this phase. But then the effect is until the end of the phase, each time a model in your unit makes an attack that targets a unit within half of the firing weapon's range, you can reroll hit rolls of 1. If a Necron's character is leading the unit, you can reroll the hit roll instead. So that's a great little option, I think, for Necrons. And then the Protocol of the Undying Legions is unchanged. The Protocol of the Sudden Storm is unchanged. And the Protocol of the Vengeful Stars has changed to 2 command points. But now we have when your opponent's shooting phase, just after an enemy unit has destroyed a Necron's unit in your army, target 1 Necron's character that was within 6 inches of the unit that was destroyed. Effect, your unit can shoot as if it were your shooting phase, but it must target the enemy that just attacked it and can only do so if that enemy unit is an eligible target. So it gets to shoot in response to its nearby unit being hit. Okay, so this is the Annihilation Barge. And all of the Necrons, there were a couple that went down, like the C'tans, and I think one other went down in movement, but most every Necron went up an inch in movement. So the Annihilation Barge went from 9 inches to 10 inches, but besides that, there were no changes to this kit. And then we have Anrakir. Anrakir the Traveler is gone. I noted down the Overlord with Translocation Shrouds. All of its stats are on this card now instead. We'll get to that as soon as we get to O's, just so that you can find it easier in there. So we'll get to Overlord when we get to the O's. But Anrakir the Traveler is gone. C'tan Shard of the Deceiver has a movement of 6 inches now, but it now has, all of the C'tans now have Feel No Pain 5+. Besides that, though, there is no difference. and I won't be chatting about points costs quite yet, as they are still in the process of being changed. Shard of the Nightbringer is 6 inches. Gaze of Death used to have an ability, but that ability has been removed. Sight of the Nightbringer, its strike is d6 plus 2 damage now, and again, it has a Feel No Pain 5 plus now. The Catan Shard of the Void Dragon, Feel No Pain 5 plus, now has a movement of 6. Other than that, is unchanged. Canoptek Doomstalker has an 8-inch movement now. It used to be 7, now it's 8 inches. And but besides that, we have no change. Canoptek Reanimator has 8-inch movement now. Has drastically lost its area effect. While a friendly Necrons unit is within 3 inches of this model, each time that unit's reanimation protocols activate, that unit reanimates an additional D3 wound. So it used to be 12 inches, now it is 3 inches. Other ones than that, seems like a probably major change. So the Canoptek Scarab Swarms no longer have deadly demise, so they've adjusted a bit on what is going to happen there. You have a 10-inch movement though, so no longer deadly demise, which means their self-destruction has changed to sound like this. At the start of the fight phase, if this unit is within engagement range of one or more enemy units, you can select one model in this unit to destroy. If you do, select one enemy unit within engagement range of that model and roll 1d6, adding 1 to the result. If that unit is a vehicle on a 2 to 5, that unit suffers d3 mortal wounds. On a 6 plus, that unit suffers 3 mortal wounds. It used to be d3 plus 3, now it's just 3. And then it also says, while an enemy unit is within engagement range of this unit, subtract 1 from the objective control of models in that unit to a minimum of 1. And while this unit is within 6 inches of one or more friendly Cryptek models, the objective control of models in this unit is 1. So now they can help with objectives if they're within if they're within 6 inches of a friendly Cryptek. So that is all right. Canoptek Spiders, they have changed a little bit. So it's just their Gloom Prism aura that has changed. So while a friendly Necrons unit is within 6 inches of the bearer, models in that unit have the Feel No Pain 5 plus ability against psychic attacks and mortal wounds. So I think it used to be 4 plus, but it was only against psychic attacks. Now it's 5 plus, but also against mortal wounds. So that is nice. Canoptek Wraiths have a 10-inch movement now, and then they had a little bit of changes here to their particle caster. Has a stat line is now devastating wounds, pistol, 12-inch range, 3 attacks, 4 plus ballistic skill. It used to be on this, it was probably an error, but on this it used to be a 2 plus, now it's a 4 plus, a 5 strength, AP 0-1 damage, and then down here the whip coils strength is gone to 5, so 8 attacks, 4 plus weapon skill, 5 strength, 0 AP, 1 damage, but besides that it is unchanged. The Catacomb Command Barge has a 10-inch movement now, and the Resurrection Orb has changed. Now all of the Resurrection Orbs have changed. Anyone with the Resurrection Orb will basically have this ability now. So Resurrection Orb, once per battle at the end of any phase, select one friendly Necron infantry, and yes, you did hear, once per battle. Once per battle, at the end of any phase, select one friendly Necron's infantry or mounted unit within 6 inches of the bearer and resurrect that unit. That unit's reanimation protocols are activated with using a D6 instead of D3. You cannot resurrect more than one unit a turn. So that is what all of the resurrection orbs are basically like now. So that's a big change for what they used to be. The Chronomancer. The Chronomancer's name of his stave has just changed to Chronomancer's stave. And then a little word change, no functional change on the Chronometron. So this guy has basically been unchanged. Oh, and however, he used to be able to attach to, what was it again? Lichguard. So he used to be able to lead Lichguard. He cannot anymore. He can only lead Immortals and Necron warriors, the Chronomancer. The Convergence of Dominion. For some reason, I thought these guys were going. I must have just imagined that. Anyway, there's some changes to these guys. So their toughness has gone down to 9. Their save characteristic has gone up to 3+. Their wounds characteristic has gone down to 7. And their leadership characteristic has gone up to 8. So on all of that, that is worse off than it used to be. Its reanimation nodes are now, while a friendly Necron's infantry unit is within 6 inches of this fortification, models in that unit have a feel no pain of 6+, which I think is nice. Don't know how much this is going to cost, but I like the fact that it shoots things. I'm curious how that will play. Cryptothralls, their wounds count is at 3 now. They had an ability here, feel no pain 4+. That is not the case anymore. And then systematic vigor has changed slightly, where it says each time a Cryptothrall model in this unit is destroyed by a melee attack, if that model has not fought this phase, roll 1d6 on a 2+, do not remove from play. The destroyed model can fight after the attacking model's unit has finished making its attacks, and it is then removed from play. So these guys are much easier to kill, even with the higher wounds count. I would consider these easier to kill because of the lack of feel no pain now. Death marks have not changed. Completely the same. Doom Scythe. The Doom Scythe has a wee bit of changes. It says each time this model targets an enemy unit with its heavy death ray, your opponent must declare if that unit will stand firm or duck for cover. If it stands firm when resolving ranged attacks against that unit, during this phase, a successful unmodified hit roll of 5+ scores of critical hit. So slight modifications. I think a couple restrictions left. What was it again? Yeah, it used to be just towards infantry, but that has now done to everyone. Everyone shoots at. So that's kind of cool. That's nice. Doomsday Arc, 10-inch movement. Leadership has gone up to 7+. The strength is now 18. Of the Doomsday Cannon Blast Heavy, the strength, I think it used to be 15, and now it's 18, and that's a lot. My goodness. So the Doomsday Cannon is now 18 strength. Nasty. Now the Flayed ones. Flayed ones have no change. The Ghost Arc, 10 inches. So it used to be once per phase for the Repair Barge. It is now once per turn. So once per turn, just after an enemy unit finishes making its attacks, if one or more friendly Necrons units within 3 inches of this model lost 1 or more wounds as a result of those attacks, this model can use this ability, and if it does, it reactivates the Reanimation Protocols. Per turn. So obviously this was getting a little out of control, I'm assuming, since it went from per phase to per turn. That's quite the nerf, but perhaps necessary. The Hexmark Destroyers now has an 8-inch movement. The Enmitic Disintegrator Pistols have ignore cover. It has the Destroyer Cult keyword now, and there are a few of them getting the Destroyer Cult keyword, which will be relevant to one of the various detachments, I'm sure. And then it says The multi-threat eliminator, so inescapable death is the same, but the multi-threat eliminator, it used to be each time an enemy unit targets a friendly Necrons unit within 3 inches of this model with ranged attacks. After that enemy unit has shot, this model can shoot as if it were in your shooting phase. Now it's one model with this ability can shoot as if it were in your shooting phase, but it has to shoot at the enemy unit that was targeting that friendly Necrons unit. And you can only do this once per turn. So all the Hexmax destroyers, only one of them gets to act on it once per turn. Illuminor Zaris, 8-inch movement now. Small little changes. While a friendly Necron's battle line unit is within 3 inches of this model. So I believe that the or went down for this, is while a friendly Necron's battle line unit is within 3 inches of this model, each time a model in that unit makes an attack, improve the armor pen characteristic by 1, and each time an attack targets that unit, worsen the armor pen by 1. And then it also says here you're at a maximum of 12 inches. So the atomic energy manipulator at the end of the fight phase, if this model at the end of the fight phase, if this model destroyed one or more models in this phase until the end of the battle, add 3 to the range of its mechanical augmentation ability to a maximum of 12 inches. Okay, Immortals. No change on the Immortals. Canoptek the Stormlord has a new model who looks great. I'll show you a better video of how he looks. This is really, really nice cloak. You could definitely give it to someone else. At least the part after the circles, you could give it to someone else if you wanted to make your own custom fellow. Canoptek the Stormlord has no change. Locust Heavy Destroyers do have change. They are now 8 inches. They've added a keyword for Destroyer Cult, and their hardware destruction has, I believe, if I'm remembering correctly, gotten better. It does restrict it to a ranged attack now, so each time a model in this unit makes a ranged attack that targets the closest eligible enemy unit, reroll a hit roll of 1. Not that you would have really used it much in melee anyway with close combat weapons. And what's really nice is that they've added this word, the sentence, if the target is within range of an objective marker your opponent controls, you can reroll the hit roll instead. So that is great. That's a great bonus. Now we have Locust Heavy Destroyers, which have Destroyer Cult keyword added and 8-inch movement. And they just changed it to, it used to be just infantry unit for this, the first part of the Optimize for Slaughter ability, and now it's just a unit excluding monsters and vehicles, so I guess that would add walkers or something like that. Each time a model in this unit makes an attack with an animated exterminator against a unit excluding monsters and vehicles, reroll a wound roll of 1. Each time a model in this unit makes an attack with a gauze destructor against a monster or vehicle unit, reroll a wound roll of 1. And besides that, there's no changes. The Locust Lord has an 8-inch movement now, and Destroyer Cult as well. And the whatever this was called is now called Nano Scarab Amulet. It has not changed. It's still a Feel No Pain 5+. What was it? The Phylactery? Yeah, the Phylactery is now called a Nano Scarab Amulet, and the Res Orb, like I already described, the Resurrection Orb has changed where you can only use it once per battle. At the end of any phase, while the bearer is leading a unit, you can resurrect one unit, and when you activate Reanimation Protocols, you use a D6 instead of a D3, and you cannot resurrect more than one unit per turn. And that's him. Lord, just the basic Lord, is gone. So he'll just have to be used as someone, maybe one of your, turn him into an Overlord somehow. Lich Guard have very little change. It says There it is. So it has a bit of a restriction now. While a noble model is leading this unit, each time an attack targets this unit, subtract 1 from the wound roll if the target's strength is greater than this model's toughness. So we little guys can go after them. But the bigger guys still have difficulty. So that's a bit of a nerf there. The Monolith has gone up in its movement, gone down to 13 toughness, gone up to 22 wounds. And besides that, though, there is no change. Necron Warriors, their number as Legion has changed. What it does, now it says each time this unit's reanimation protocol activate, you can reroll the dice to see how many wounds are reanimated. So I think that's very nice. Besides that, there is no change. Nemazor Zandrek is gone, so you'll have to use him as a Lord Overlord, something like that. Then we have Night Scythe. Its Twin Tesla's Destructor's Strength has gone up to 8. I don't know if that was a previous change. Oops. I don't know if that was a previous change, but it's gone up to 8 from this card to the new card anyway. And then it also has Quantum Invader. This model can be set up in the reinforcement step of your first, second, or third movement phase, regardless of any mission rules, which is certainly nice. And then our Obelisk. The Obelisk has changed to an 8-inch movement, down some wounds to, it's not down, down some toughness, down to 13 toughness, but up to 24 wounds. And it's gotten a bit better for here. The Gravitic Pulse has gotten more powerful. At the start of your opponent's movement phase, you can select one enemy unit within 18 inches and visible to this model. Until the end of the turn, you have the move characteristic of models in that unit, and you have the advance and charge rolls made for that unit. And then besides that, nothing else has changed. So that is a buff. And then Ophydian Destroyers. Ophydian Destroyers have now a 10-inch movement instead of a 9-inch, and they have a Destroyer Cult keyword now added to it. So there's definitely going to be something. Orkan the Diviner also has a new model. He is like Necron War. Actually, I have a Necron Warrior here somewhere. Here we go. Necron Warrior. He is covered in a Vallejo paint. And Vallejo Premium Color 051 airbrush paint is what this color is. Anyway, this is the Necron Warrior versus Orkan on a 40mm base. Oh, and versus Necron Warrior versus him also on a 40mm base. So they're a significantly taller size than the Necron Warrior. All right, so this fella. He's a bit fiddly to put together. The arms can basically go at any angle that you want. And because they are the socket, you're actually fitting these pieces together to form a nice socket that the arm can just, the ball joint of the arm of the shoulder can just be pushed into place. So you want to be mindful of the socket that you create when you're putting the chest pieces and odd cloak together. This one was a bit finicky to put on, but and down here as well to get it into place, but I think it'll be fine. And you may want to put the head on sooner rather than later, but otherwise, all right. He's a really cool looking guy, and this piece here is 2 pieces, and you can keep it off if you want to paint these guys first. This guy first, and all of the arms can stay off if you want to paint separately first. Okay, so Orkan the Diviner. He has no change. Used to lead probably Lich Guard, I imagine it was. And now he just leads Immortals and Necrons. The Overlord has gone to a 6+ leadership. I think it was much better than that before. Now it is a 6+ leadership. And of course the Resurrection Orb, like all of the other ones, the Resurrection Orb is different. So in case you in case you don't remember what I had previously said, once per battle, while the bearer is leading a unit at the end of any phase, it can resurrect that unit if it is on the battlefield. When you do so, that unit's resurrection protocols or reanimation protocols are activated. D6 wounds instead of D3. You cannot resurrect more than 1 unit per turn. So all the resurrection orbs say the exact same thing. That is what it is saying. And then that is... now we're going to go to the Overlord with Translocation Shroud, where Anrakar the Traveler is gone, but we have the same stats as Anrakar the Traveler was. So 5-inch movement, 5 toughness, 2+ save, 6 wounds, 6 leadership, and 1 objective control. There is no ranged weapons. It just has an Overlord's Blade, which has devastating wounds, is 4 attacks, 2+ to hit, 8 strength, AP -2, 2 damage. It has its infantry character, Overlord, Noble, and then Overlord with Translocation Shroud. And then it has the usual My Will Be Done Overlord ability, where once per battle round, 1 unit from your army with this ability can be targeted with a stratagem for 0 command points, even if you've already targeted a different unit with that stratagem this phase. And then the Translocation Shroud does, each time this model's unit advances, don't roll, just add 6 inches. Also, normal, advance, or fallback moves can go horizontally through terrain and other models as long as the move doesn't end on top of another model or its base. Alright, and on the other side, it can lead Immortals, Necron Warriors, and Lich Guard. Alright, so the Plasmancer has little changes just here. It says the living lightning altered a little bit. It's in your shooting phase. Select 1 enemy unit within 18 inches of and visible to this model and roll 4d6. For every 4+, that unit suffers 1 mortal wound. So a slight adjustment to the Plasmancer. As the Psychomancer has, I just covered over the previous ones because they both changed enough that I couldn't just edit. And I used to be able to lead Lich Guard, but now can only lead Immortals and Necron Warriors. But Nightmare Shroud has turned into, in the Battle Shock step of your opponent's command phase, if an enemy unit that is below its starting strength is within 6 inches of this model, that enemy unit must take a Battle Shock test, subtracting 1 from the test when it does so. So in the Battle Shock step, if that enemy is below its starting strength, so not just below, not below half its starting strength, but below its starting strength at all, if it's within 6 inches of this model, it has to take a Battle Shock test, minusing 1 from the test. So that's nice. Don't know how often we would get to be that close to him, but Harbinger, but I guess that would be a reason to run up with him, I suppose. Sounds like he'd be headed off towards objectives, because that would benefit the most from enemy units taking Battle Shock tests. Anyway, Harbinger of Despair once per turn at the start of your command, movement, shooting, charge, or fight phase. Don't know why you wouldn't say at the start of any of your phases. Oh, whatever. Once per turn, you can select 1 enemy unit within 18 inches of this model. That unit must take a Battle Shock test, subtracting 1 from the test when it does so. Great. So, yeah. Messing up your opponents is what this one is for. Cool. And I wonder if there's anything that would be able to combine with that one. I don't know. To have a maximum effect. Okay. The adaptive strategy on the Royal Warden has changed too. This model can shoot or declare a charge in the same turn it fell back. Otherwise, it is the same. The Cryptek Destroyer's Whirling Onslaught has adjusted. It is also part of the Destroyer Cult keyword now and has an 8-inch movement, which is up from 7. The Whirling Onslaught now says, reroll, each time a model in this unit makes a melee attack, reroll hit rolls a hit roll of 1. If this unit made a charge move this turn, you can reroll the hit roll instead, which is better than what it had. That was the Cryptek Destroyers. The Cryptek Lord is also part of the Destroyer Cult now and has an 8-inch movement, but besides that, we've got no changes. The Mancer no longer has war gear, but it has an 10-inch movement. It used to be a 5-inch movement, and you could put on the Canoptek cloak to give him fly, to give him 10 inches, and now they just made it natural. So the fly is part of his keywords, and he has an automatic 10-inch wound. Now, it also did get rid of this other thing where you add 1 to the key roll, hit roll, but here we have at the end of your movement phase, you can select 1 friendly Necrons model within 6 inches of the bearer. That model regains up to D3 lost wounds. Each model can only be selected for this ability once per turn, so a great healer. And it was, I think it was 3 inches before now. Now it's 6 inches. And now you can have Canoptek wraiths. Guard are much more specific to whom can lead them now. All right, the Tesseract Vault has an 8-inch movement now. And it doesn't have much in the way of changes, but it used to be you select 1 of the 10 power weapons over here. None of these have changed. Now you get to select up to 2 Catan power weapons and use. So that is great. You get double the firepower. That's awesome. But besides that, there is no change, but that's great. The Silent King has had a little bit of changes. So Tesseract himself and the men here have gone to, I think they used to have a better leadership, but now it's 6+ leadership. Both of them have 6+ leadership, but their movement has gone to 8 inches. The whatever was named below is now called Armored Bulk. Hasn't changed its stats, but its melee weapon is now called the Armored Bulk. And the weapons, yeah, so the 2 melee weapons have changed their names for some reason. Now there's Weapons of the Final Triarch. But otherwise, they've remained the same. And then the Silent King had an ability below that has changed to while a Necron's unit is within 6 inches of Tesseract, improve that unit's leadership characteristic by 1. And Deadly Demise D6 plus 3 is now for Tesseract model only. So when you take off Triarch Memniers, you don't get Deadly Demise. Just when Tesseract is removed. Alright, and then Pharaon of the Stars Aura. While a friendly Necron's unit is within 6 inches of this unit's Tesseract model, each time a model in that unit makes an attack, I think it used to be ranged attack, but now it's an attack, you reroll a hit roll of 1 and you reroll a wound roll of 1. So it includes melee weapons now. And then Pharaon of the Blades Aura. While a friendly Necron's unit is within 6 inches of this unit's Tesseract model, you can reroll charge rolls made for that unit, and you add 1 strength to the melee attacks for that unit, so that's great. And then Bringer of Unity has not changed. He used to have fly, and now he doesn't. Yeah, that's right. He used to have fly, and now he doesn't. Okay. Tombblades. The Particle Beamer's ballistic skill has gone up to 3+, so it used to be 2+, and its strength has gone down to 5, so that's a nerf for that. The Shadow Loom, the bearer has stealth instead of an invuln save, and Shield Veins, the bearer has a 3+ save characteristic and a movement characteristic of 8 inches. Now normally it's 12 inches. But if you choose the shield vein, but why would an alien can be equipped with 1 shield veins? If you choose that, you have a 3+ save characters again instead of a 4+ save characters. But your movement is 8 inches. What's there in what I would choose? I don't know if I would go with that, since you can have the Shadow Loom now with stealth. So I think I'd not go with it. I don't know. All right, and then they've got this ability called Evasion Engrams. In your shooting phase, after this has shot, it can make a normal move up to 6 inches. If it does until the end of the turn, it cannot declare a charge. So you get a free little movement if you wanted to. And then the Transcendic Catan has gone down to 6 movement. The Feel No Pain 5+, like all of the other Catans. And that is the only change on him. Transin, the Infinite, is still alive, still kicking, still does exactly what he used to do. The Triarch Praetorians have a movement of 10 inches. And for some reason there is now Triarch, Praetorians, but I suppose also the Triarch Stalker, Stalker, presumably there's possibly a stratagem that deals with Triarch things. That's why I would have done that. A 10-inch movement. Other than that, there is no change. The Triarch Stalker has moved to 8 inches, which is down from 9 inches, I believe. Or down from 10, something like that. It's down. However, it now has the Scout's 8-inch movement ability, so that's nice. And then this one, it had a twin-linked heavy gauze cannon, but now it has a heavy gauze cannon array, not twin-linked, but has double the shots, so 6 shots instead of 3 shots. I think that's fine. And then Vargard Oberon is gone, but you could definitely treat him as an overlord or something like that. Make your own fancy fellow, because this fellow does not currently exist as a model anymore. And that is it. Do let me know what you think of all these changes.
And I hope you enjoyed this one. If you did, make certain to like and subscribe to the channel. I'll catch you in the next one. Bye!
Thank you very much to the patrons and YouTube members. As always, I always appreciate the support. Any support that you offer, it's appreciated. Thank you.
I'm expecting that I'm going to be playing some Necrons in the future. At the moment, though, I have been playing Adeptus Mechanicus, and if you want to see that video of the battle report of Adeptus Mechanicus versus Grey Knights, maybe you have more than one army like I do, that will be in the description so that you can check that out. Okay, bye.